All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Unbelievable. Yeah, Balls, what's happening, my man?
Okay, Balls, what's on your mind?
Hey cats, we're back, and as always, this is Balls from Ellwood joining you again this week. Sorry it's been a little longer than I anticipated. I wanted to have this out sooner than I did. I'm trying to keep these, coming out as, weekly as possible, like the last time, because I know, the couple of you that actually enjoy listening to this show kind of want something fresh every week. So I'm trying to, in fact, try to keep it weekly like I used to be. So that being said, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. We have XTina, and I have to say, Kat's probably one of the most crazy things I've ever heard her tell me about. So you have a lot to look forward to for this Depravity Corner. It's very fucked up. So, but I'm digging right in. I actually have been contemplating all day. Something's been on my mind. There's a lot of negative press today. I'm sure you cats have seen it by now. Comedian Roseanne got in a shit ton of trouble for tweeting what was deemed a racist tweet today. In fact, it even cost her her show on ABC, which I think was one of the few shows, surprisingly, that was actually, it was number one. It was actually kind of really helping the network out. So, I mean, that being said, that's very big balls on ABC's part. I mean, but I think the thing that, that bothers me the most, cats, I actually want to talk about so many different things, and just the thing that pisses me off about this country is everybody is so quick to condemn a comedian when they are in fact making a joke. I mean, is it a poor taste joke? Yes. Is it is it a bad joke? Yes. Is it something that's gonna piss people off? Sure. Does she have the right to say it? Yeah. Balls is all about free speech, man. I mean, I think people are being a tad hypocritical in the sense that I think everybody... I don't think Roseanne set out to, intentionally start this kind of thing. I mean, I think it's one of those things where she's, have you ever said something where, it fucking was probably way too past the limit and it went out there and then fuck it, man, it's out there. So, I mean, I think the thing that is the hardest about comedy, not that I'm fucking anything like Roseanne or, have any sort of comedic talent as such or anyone else like that. I'm just balls. But in my humble opinion, the thing that's hardest about comedy and making people laugh is the subjective nature of it. I mean, you can get 10 people in a room and you could tell them one joke and one will think it's the funniest thing in the world, two will think it's the dumbest thing in the world, 3, 4 could be offended and cry like little pussies about it, and one could be completely outraged and fucking get up and walk out. So I mean, that's the risk as a comedic entertainer that you going in. I mean, oddly enough, most comedians and entertainers are, in fact, damaged people in some way. So, I mean, but the thing of it is, why this is so important, I mean, I think people are, twisting this into a political debate, a racial thing. I don't look at that like this at all. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, people always like to try to craft things to their agenda. I mean, but I mean, here's the issue I have with the whole thing. If you let people in general dictate, what should be on TV or what's funny or what should be on the internet or, if you listen to every fucking sensitive fucking pansy pussy motherfucker, before you know it, you're not going to have any more entertainment. You're not going to have any fucking brilliant minds and comics like Carlin. I mean, Yeah, let's just say Carlin had a great show like Roseanne, and I consider him to be one of the kings of comedy. And some fucking pussy fucking sensitive dickhead. So I don't like that one joke. Oh, okay, ban Carlin, or even better, like comedians, stand-up comedians. I mean, it just what I'm getting at is people are just so overly fucking sensitive these days. You have these fucking cunts, and then they have kids, and then they become bigger cunts, and everybody's just a fucking. Before you know, we're gonna be a nation of cunts. They should just call it Cunt America, because everybody's sensitive, everybody's fucking feelings are hurt, everybody's butthurt all the time. Everybody, you can't fucking say anything to anybody anymore. You can't even tell somebody, hey, you look nice, because then the fucking Me Too movement said you raped me, and you're fucking, you can't give anybody a compliment, you can't. I'm afraid to fucking even go outside and look at anybody, because everybody's so goddamn uptight now. I'm afraid to talk to anybody. I'm not a fucking people person to begin with. I fucking, anxiety and, around crowds and people, and I just, I have to mentally prepare for shit like that, and it's, it's very interesting to me. Like, everybody's become so sensitive and politically correct that nobody, whatever you do, something's gonna piss somebody off. You gotta fucking walk on eggshells and craft your speech. And, just be careful. Don't say this about this. Don't make this joke. Don't fucking do this. Before you know it, we're going to be a communist country. I mean, not that we're, not getting there to begin with. But, I mean, I've never been much of a political dude. But, I mean, I have to say, it is getting ridiculous. I mean, I just can't even imagine, like, if this was going on, like, and we lost great thinkers and brilliant minds, like all the incredible comics that I knew growing up. I mean, this whole situation reminds me, a while back, I think it's probably at least a decade, but Gilbert Gottfried, he was a comedian when I was growing up. I loved him on Up All Night. I still do. In fact, I'm going to go see him here very soon. And I always like to support him because, like, I think that's when it all started, man. That's when the bottom fell out. I almost, if I had to pick a time, he was riding high, man. He had a great career. He was the voice of Iago the parrot and Aladdin. That probably made him a shit ton of money. He was the voice of that annoying fucking Affleck duck, and I'm sure that made him money. And then lo and behold, the fucking tsunami hit. And, Gilbert, in true Gilbert fashion, made a joke about it, and much like Roseanne's, was it in poor taste? Yeah. Did it piss a lot of people off? Sure. Well, was it, was it offensive? Yes. But, I mean, I don't want to live in a fucking country where comedians aren't allowed to joke anymore, to tell jokes. I mean, I don't want to fucking live in a world of Sinbads where everything's fucking clean and sanitized, homogenized humor. That's not fucking interesting to me at all, cats. Like, I've always been, a fan of kind of more blue comedy. Blue is, if you haven't heard that term, like, people that work raunchy, or I guess you'd say quote-unquote dirty. But, I don't want to hear, like, I mean, I think Seinfeld's okay, but, like, I wouldn't want to live in a world of Seinfelds. I mean, I like the fact that in this country we can be who we are and say what we can and do the things we do and express ourselves like that. I mean, I think it pisses me off the fact that nobody can even listen to each other anymore. We're in the days where, like, my opinion's fucking right, and I have no ear to sit down and listen to anybody else, weigh any other decisions, question the answers, discuss things with people. I mean, when I talk to people, and if I don't agree with them, like, politically or otherwise, I don't think they're assholes. I don't think they're wrong. I do listen to things they say, and I do weigh them very heavily, and I think we're all adults, and that's just a topic where I think people get so caught up. And, I mean, I get that people are so passionate about it. Like, I get it. I think it's great that people are. But you have to be receptive to other people and respect other people. even if you don't agree with them. And I think that in turn is a lot of the problem. I don't feel like there's a lot of that, taught or emphasized anymore. So, but I think this whole thing I'm very passionate about, man. Like, the thing that scares me is, you can't, it might seem like a very small, minuscule thing, but it really isn't. Here's the thing, too. I think everybody in the world, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, I know most people won't even admit it public. I'm sure everybody in this world has said or made a joke or said something that has come out tasteless that you didn't think would either A, be that big of a deal, or B, people would take it and it would become outraged at that point or that extent. I think everybody's taken things too far is the point I'm trying to make. I mean, did ABC handle it the wrong way? No, I think I have a very big problem with ABC now. They should call it, they just change the title. It should just be Network of Pussies, because, like, that's what they are. If you're going to let your audience dictate everything that we see and hear, then you're fucking the problem. Like, you're worse than the problem. Like, I mean, that means I could fucking call and I could complain about any fucking programming that you have on, and if I get enough people behind me, you're gonna cancel your program, you're gonna get rid of the shit. I mean, why the fuck even have a network then? I think people, I think they handled this, the canceling her show, I think they handled this the wrong way. I think for sure they should have let at least the audience and people decide. We are, an audience, and we are, I would like to think, a very smart society with brains in our head. I think we should be able to think for ourselves and choose for ourselves, and, regardless of, it's not even a political thing. I mean, I hate when people take an instance like this, and everybody knows coming back that she's a big Trump supporter. I mean, and yeah, it is injected. I watched the show; it is injected into it a little bit. But I mean, that's the thing. I don't watch liberal shows and condemn them if there's liberal stuff in it, because I know they're liberal shows. I mean, that doesn't stop me from, it doesn't hamper me from enjoying entertainment. I mean, people's beliefs. Everybody, has their opinion, and they inject it when they can, and that doesn't make me think any less of the product, the entertainment, or the person themselves. But I think they definitely handled this the wrong way. I heard rumblings that they might try to take it to Netflix here and there, but I mean, who knows, man? I mean, they went through a lot of effort to get it back on the air. I always thought it was a groundbreaking and innovative show, and I always thought it was really good, well written. I love Dan Goodman, and it's just a bummer, man. Like, I just chalk it up. And here's the thing, too, man. People want to make this a black and white issue, a racial issue. I tell you what, I never even knew who the person that she tweeted about was. Apparently it was a lady that was in Obama's cabinet that helped him along the way, which I would like to know the lead up to this whole thing. Like, I tried to find a clear, story as to like why she even got riled up enough to even tweet this, but I really can't find like anything clear. But I mean, it's odd to me because the whole thing alone is so far irrelevant. I mean, I don't even know what was brought up. But I mean, that being said, and as I've said before, I mean, people want to turn this into a racial issue. It's not. I was saying earlier, I didn't even know who this person was. I mean, I looked her up. And it's not a black issue. It's not a white issue. I looked at this lady. I didn't even think she was African American. I mean, people were saying black. I mean, that's offensive to some people. That's what I'm saying. Like, people are so butthurt and fucking just over words. Words nowadays. You can't say colored, you black. I mean, it changes every fucking month. Like, before colored was acceptable. Now black is unacceptable. Now colored's unacceptable, but black's good. Like, I as a white person have no fucking idea what's going on, man. Like, I just don't see people as people. Like, I don't fucking even look that way. Like, and people people perpetuate with all this fucking, words and bullshit. they carry on these racist archetypes. Like, they really need, the terminology needs to just go away, and people just need to fucking start looking at people as people. But that being said, I brought a picture of this bitch up because I wanted to see her. It ain't a black thing, it ain't a white thing, it's a fucking monkey thing. This bitch looks like a monkey. She looks like the Planet of the Apes. I mean, was it tasteless to point it out? Absolutely, but I looked at her, I didn't even think she was quote-unquote black. Like, I thought she don't look black to me, she looks ape-like to me. Like, I mean, she looks like Dr. Zaius. So, I mean, get mad all you want, man, but, like, I don't see it that way. Like, I think in my opinion, I think, people will fucking get pissed, and you can fucking send me letters all you want, the email address, but I'm going to give you my 100% opinion. I felt like we were actually doing really good in the ways of race relations and equality up until the Obama administration. I think that's when things started to, in fact, people started to make it a divide and a racial thing again. I felt pretty comfortable. I thought we were really, really coming a long way. Like, I thought as a society, people weren't even looking at color anymore, and everybody was well accepted. I could be very naive to think so, but I'm pretty sure that once, that the Obama administration came around, I mean, I almost feel like whether it was, perpetuated or not, it did in fact bring about a lot of negative division among people again, which I don't think is ever a good thing. I mean, everybody wants equality, everybody don't want racism, then let's not have it. Let's but don't whenever you have your quote unquote first black president, let's all be fucking racist again. And it's just bullshit to me. I've never personally owned a slave. I've never personally enslaved anybody. And so I don't think it's fair to place upon me or anyone else or a particular race, that kind of agenda. I think it's just fucking stupid thinking. But that's just, again, that's my opinion. But I'm getting the cart before the horse here. The whole rant and raving, the whole thing about it is you have to let people joke and say the things whether you agree with them or not, or else we're just gonna have nothing. Would you want to come home and turn on bland entertainment and bland humor and bland music? And I always think art comes from within, and you're creating something, and whether it be music or a movie or a poem or this or that, it's coming from the deepest part inside you, or it's coming from a place where, you're making, you're doing something. It's a expression of yourself for people to enjoy. And I mean, it sounds silly, but I mean, comedians, they make people laugh that way. And mostly it's by exaggerating the truth to the point where you're actually kind of, you're making fun of something to the point where you're actually getting people to think about it. You're kind of, it's almost like a funhouse mirror. Like, you're stretching it out so crazily that you see people look at it and they see, oh hey, that is it's so exaggerated, it's funny. But it's there's nothing you can't laugh at. I mean, I hate people that think there's topics that are taboo, or there's topics that are not even jokeable, or things you shouldn't talk about. That's all bullshit. There's nothing that you can't joke about. There's nothing you can't laugh about, and you shouldn't have to feel guilty about it. Everybody in this world has made an off-color joke. I guarantee everybody has made jokes that they regret, or said something that didn't go the right way or come off across. I'll give you an example of one of mine. I made a joke at somebody's expense at work once, and it was this kid I didn't know well, and I made a mom joke, and I had no idea his mom was dead. Is that tasteless? Absolutely. Was it horrible to do? Sure. Did I feel like shit? Yeah, the kid started crying. I felt like an asshole. But I live in a country where I should still be able to do that. I mean, I don't think it was right to do. Had I known his mom was croaked, I would have never did that. But, I didn't do it on purpose. But, I mean, I took it too far. And then you learn from it. They didn't fire me at work. You know, they didn't tell me, hey, get the fuck out of here. You know, it said, hey, that was kind of shitty, and, you know, knock it off, you're an asshole, which I knew already, you know. You live, you learn. You know your boundaries, and you know your parameters, and you stay within them. So, I mean, sometimes people fuck up. Sometimes comics fuck up. Sometimes the guy that fucking gives you your order at McDonald's fucks up. That's all the time, actually. But what I'm saying is, there is humanity in this. People are human. People make mistakes. And, you know, that's all. I mean, I could rant all fucking day. I just don't believe that, you know, there should be free speech. But you should be able to govern yourself, too. I mean, I think she probably should have known better. But people practice poor judgment. That's all I'm trying to say. And, I mean, XTina feels completely different from me. But does that mean that I think her opinion's wrong? No. Do I think anything she's saying is bad or stupid? No, not at all. In fact, I think there's been plenty of times where I feel a certain way and me and her talk, and she's had so many good points that I do. There's been times where I have changed my judgment, or I have thought about things in a different light. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think people should talk about things rather than just being pussies first. If you got anything from this 20-minute rant, get that. Question answers. Talk to people. Get off your fucking tablet and phone and your tweet and being fucking, you know, keyboard tough guys, and actually have a fucking conversation with people. See how they feel. You know, mix it up. Get out there and, like, you know, maybe, you know, share some conversation, and maybe you can get a little bit from somebody, and somebody get a little bit from you, and then we'll have a little more, a little more understanding in this country. XTina, I know you're dying to put your 2 cents in here. I can see you staring lasers into my ass, so here, take it over.
Why, thank you. I would love to discuss this, as I have a very strong opinion as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, when I first heard this thing happen today, I was very upset because I loved the show. I thought it was really doing great. I thought, couldn't wait for the next season. I'm so happy they brought all the original people back. And it was funny. It was edgy. It was, you know, current. And I felt, honestly, that it was fair. I mean, she's a known Trump supporter, and she brings that up, and her character brings it up, you know, but yet they have a grandkid who is a boy who wears makeup and dresses like a girl, and, you know, I mean, some of it's a little much, but still, they're making a point to be relevant, and I appreciated that. In fact, what really upset me was, but she just gave money to the Muslim neighbor lady. If you guys watch the show, I'm like, come on, man. She just helped the Muslim neighbor lady. She loves people of all races. But, I mean, okay, I know it's a show. But, yeah, what she did, I felt was completely wrong. You know, and here's an example. When Balls and I got together today, I was like, no, it's so wrong. She deserved everything deserved. I don't blame ABC for canceling the show. And then the more I've had time to discuss it and think about it and talk about it, I'm like, all right, I think they jumped the gun on that. I think they really shouldn't have canceled the show, probably for my own selfish purposes, because I just want the show. But no, I do really think that what she did was completely ridiculous. And again, why is it even relevant at this point? Why did she do it? Who knows? You know, who knows what goes through somebody's head, and who knows where it all stemmed from. But, you know, should it have been done? Absolutely not. She did apologize. In fact, she apologized before it even got out of hand, but nobody cares. You know, it's like, once it's done, it's done. But, you know, again, by the same token, you know, a lot of other people should be fired, and a lot of other people should be going off the air, and, you know, all that. So, you know, yeah, I guess we are sort of on the same side. But, you know, Balls is right. I mean, we all need to talk more rather than be on this computer. And, you know, I don't consider myself right, left, liberal, conservative. I feel like I like to think of myself as an independent, and, you know, somewhere in between, and I try to look at all sides. And I guess I maybe do lean more right, just because, I don't know, I just sort of seem to agree with more of the things that are on that side, but that doesn't mean that I don't, you know, value your opinion. But when you attack people online, that's not the way to go about it. And I feel like we've become a nation of just attacking people and calling people liberal and conservative and left and right, and that's just ridiculous. Like, there's way more to people than that, and, you know, this two-party system is stupid to begin with, and, you know, that all needs to go, but I don't want to get into a rabbit hole of that. What I did want to talk about, if you don't mind, is the, you know, along the same lines here, there's been a recent development as the new season of The Batchelorette has started, and yeah, it's my guilty pleasure, folks. I know nobody wants to hear this, but hey, Howard likes it, so here we go. See, I can relate to y'all.
Becca's hot, too.
Oh, yeah, Becca's hot, too. She really is. And she's sweet. I know guys don't care about that, but she really is. So anyway, there's a contestant on the show this season who is apparently, you know, one of the front runners. And, you know, she really forms a connection with him, blah, blah, blah. He's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. I know, now he's laughing at me in the background, and as I'm sure you all are, too. But you'll see, damn it. You won't be invited to the wedding, but I might. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Anyway, Becca's listening to the Balls from Ellwood podcast, yeah. Yeah, that I highly doubt as well. Ah! Anywho, so the bottom line is they release these guys' names about, I don't know, a week or two before the show airs, and so people start creeping on their social media. Well, they got a hold of this guy Garrett's Instagram and found out that he likes all this stuff that has to do with, like, a conservative way of thinking, and he liked a lot of posts that were maybe distasteful, but they were meant to be a joke. Like, there was one, and I mean, personally, I think it's kind of funny. It's like a little kid and some, like, army guy, like, it's holding him, and they're like, throw him back over the wall. Like, it's a freaking joke, people. It's a joke. It's meant to be funny. Have we all lost our sense of humor? And he liked that, and now he's like the devil. The whole internet, who doesn't even know him. He's Roseanne. Ha. I mean, he's right up there with her. Like, the whole internet hates him now because they don't even know him. We haven't even, this is all before we even seen 1 second of this guy even speak on TV. And everybody's judging him and hating him, like literally hating him. He's been called a racist, a bigot. He's had to shut down all of his social media because he was getting harassed. She's, I think, going to have to shut hers down because now they're starting to harass her because of stuff that he's known to like. You know, he liked a few posts from Donald Trump, or he liked a few posts that had something to do with, you know, that was anti that stupid David Hogg kid from the Parkland shooting thing. And that kid's annoying. I'm sorry, but he is. You know, there's no reason for that. Yeah, so I could go on about that. But regardless, I mean, whether you agree or disagree, you should not be out there blatantly calling this guy a racist. There was nothing racially motivated on his page that I saw of any sort. But now he's a racist and a bigot, and he hates gays and lesbians and all this and that. It's just so freaking ridiculous. You don't know these people, and you're judging them by a few things that they have on social media. Is that how you'd want to be judged? I mean, it's asinine. The world is going to hell. I don't even know where to begin. Like, can't we just, I as much as I love social media, it is also the devil as well. I mean, it's becoming a nuisance. In fact, this has something to do with the Depravity Corner. Maybe I'll give you a preview. But there was something I heard about today where this girl, committed a murder because of people unfriending her on Facebook. Yeah, so we'll get into that maybe at a later time, but I got a better story than that. But still, like, seriously, like, this is what the world is coming to? Like, are we this sad? It's scary. It's scary and sad. I'm just going to hide in my bubble. How about you, Balls? Will you hide in the bubble with me?
There'd be no bubble I'd like to hide with other than with you. But anyway, back to what you're saying. I mean, this all leads right back to what we were talking about sooner. My whole Roseanne rant. I mean, you could feel you could. Everybody thinks that if you're passionate about your beliefs, you're an asshole nowadays. I don't know when it became this way, but I mean, I don't understand. Like, if you're almost, you have any sort of conservative beliefs nowadays, that you're an asshole. I mean, I consider myself independent, but I mean, I was raised a certain way. I do think I swing a little to the more conservative side, which I know is a lot of shock to a lot of people. But I mean, if you did in fact listen to the show, and if you do in fact get to know me, you would understand. But I mean, here's the thing. They're going on there and they're bastardizing, they're crucifying a dude they've never fucking met. They've looked at this dude's social media for 5 minutes, and all of a sudden they know him. They know him inside and out. How ridiculous can you fucking be, people? First of all, if you're that upset and you elicit that kind of response from a fucking retarded show, that you're gonna fucking go in there and you're gonna blast people and attack their character, and you're gonna get upset, and you're gonna email the Batchelorette, and you're gonna do this and that, you're a fucking asshole. You're part of the problem. If a show fucking upsets you that bad, don't fucking watch it. In fact, call ABC and tell them it bothers you, and then they'll take it off. So I mean.
No, don't take away my Bachelorette. Love you. Love you.
Now, my point is, all these fucking pussies, whatever fucking bothers them, it has to go. We live in it's like, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Everybody, they got to feel great and entertained and happy and unoffended 99% of the time, 100% of the day. Fucking life doesn't work like that, people. There's going to be a lot of times where you are offended, or you're angry, or you're unhappy, but there's a lot of times where you're going to feel the opposite too, and that's just fucking life. Don't so it's very unfair to, if you disagree with somebody, their politics, the way they wipe their ass, what their favorite color is. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It doesn't mean you know them as a person. I mean, you could fucking talk to somebody for 10 years and you still don't even know half of what a person is or what makes them. So, for people to get on their fucking political high horse, or to get on their social media high horse and judge anybody, go take a look in the mirror, because you're probably the racist piece of shit. You're probably the judgmental fucking prick. You're probably the asshole you're probably the bigger asshole than the one that you can't stand and you profess to hate. So, think about it. I used to hear this stupid thing when I was a kid, and whenever you point a finger at somebody, there's 4 pointing back at you. So just remember that, you motherfuckers. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. So just, like we was talking about earlier, go talk to people, listen a little, just give a little bit, don't be so hard-headed. You might learn something from somebody, and somebody might take the time to learn something from you. So enough of all this. I feel like this has been the Balls from Ellwood rant edition, which usually is every week, but I mean, I really, really took it to another level this time. But we still have so much more to talk about. I want to talk about Morgan Freeman. I mean, here we go, Morgan Freeman. I wanted to, I actually thought for a second this motherfucker was not guilty. I mean, again, this is how media can fuck your head up, kids. Just like same with Cosby. I mean, which, you grew up watching Dr. Huxtable. I grew up watching it, listening to stand up. It's one of my fondest memories as a kid with vinyl. My mom had the vinyl. I had to wake up listening to it. I never thought in a million years he'd be a serial rapist. So just to hear that Morgan Freeman is I don't think it's nowhere. People were making a big deal out of it. Like, it's not Cosby. It's not to the point like of Cosby, but I mean, he did make some appropriate, shit. He said some appropriate shit to some fucking ladies. I mean, but I mean, I was sticking up for him from the beginning, man, because like, there's no way in hell this dude could have did it, because he would like narrated it the whole time. He's like, I'm gonna touch your titty now. Now I'm gonna work my fingers down to your vagina. Next, I'm gonna stick my index finger and my pinky in your asshole. I mean, there's no way. Now I think about it, and I'm like, wow, I guess that probably really did happen, which even disturbs me even more. But I mean, again, man, like, can we have a week where like a celebrity that I don't hold near and dear, or I grew up on loving, is not like, raping somebody or drugging somebody or excuse me, this whole thing's getting me excited. or telling sexually harassing women. I mean, just 1 week. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, XTina, you have any thoughts on Morgan Freeman? What do you think?
I mean, of course, I love the dude as an actor, and of course, you sort of hate to see this when they're in their, like, glory years, I guess you'd say. Dude's 80 years old, but hey, if you did what you did. But here's the difference, though. I mean,
He has a big cock.
I don't really think about Morgan Freeman's cock, so, I mean, it's never really been a thought to me. I would guess so. He's a tall, thin man, so... And of course, he's black or African American.
Yeah,
I know. Oh my God.
Racist. How dare you say black men have huge cocks?
Oh my God.
They
Yeah,
would
I
be
guess it
very
is.
upset if they heard that.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? No, but my issue with that is, okay, this whole sexual harassment thing, like, there's a fine line between, like, creepy and, like, flirtatious. And, like, I hate to say it, I am the furthest thing from a feminist, but at the same time, like, yeah, I definitely want respected, but I can handle things a little better than maybe most people. And so I've, been flirted with or been, and there's a big difference between someone being like, "Ooh, don't you look good today?" and like the tone of voice or whatever. And that's that can be a little like, all right. But, or like supposedly him saying, "Ooh, let me get a look at that," and like lifting your skirt. Supposedly, this is all, hearsay. So, right. So, there's a difference in your tone and in your, obviously your relationship to the person who's saying this to you. There's just a lot of different factors that determine, what you, I guess, as an individual would consider sexual harassment too, I mean, by some of these standards, I guess I'm sexually harassed, well, maybe not so much now, but years ago in my 20s, would have been a lot. But like guys whistling at you on the street, I mean, is that sexual harassment? I mean, I guess technically by definition it is.
Is somebody telling you that you look nice sexual harassment?
Right.
Nowadays,
it sounds like people are, like, can you not give anybody a compliment?
I'm afraid to fucking
Like,
go outside and say, smile
right.
at somebody or say hi to anybody.
Yeah, like, I mean, women, personally, like, if you're a woman and you are feeling pretty good about yourself, or maybe you're not feeling good about yourself that day, and a guy, like, does a double take or, like, whistles at you, it's like, oh, all right then, maybe I still got it, It gives you, like, a little boost of confidence, and there's really kind of nothing wrong with that. But if a guy comes up to me and is like, "Ooh, baby, those titties are looking good today," okay. Well, yeah, Ball says that, but, whatever. I guess he's entitled to sexually harass me.
I told a 67-year-old lady at work she looked nice, and then I thought about it a few seconds later. I'm thinking, she's going to say I raped her. Like, I got to stop fucking telling people they look nice. I told a dude he looked nice one day. Somebody came into work, and they were all fancied up. I'm thinking, oh, fuck, now he's going to say I raped him, too. I got to stop being nice to people.
But I mean, and as funny as that sounds, it's almost scary. I know, it's almost scary now. Like, how do you, like, can't you compliment anybody anymore? I mean, that's terrible, so I don't know. It's this society's, like, freaking me out, man. It really is. Like, I am super freaked out.
I'll give you the example. Like, this is how you should tell people they look nice, and there's a creepy way to do it, and there's a nice way to do it. If I was to approach somebody and I was like, "XTina, you look very nice today. That is quite an ensemble." That's the nice version. Now, if I was to come up to you and say, "XTina, you look very, very nice today. I don't want to stick my index finger in your pussy." That's probably not so good, I think. That's probably not the way to go, right?
No, that's not so good. I mean, there's a time and a place for that.
Well, I mean, we've addressed Morgan Freeman. I tell you what, cats, we're going to take a break here. Actually, before we take a break here, XTina, to keep this ship floating, why don't you tell the audience where, if they would like to make a donation, they can actually send us a donation if they will.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we've got a PayPal account. You can shoot it at cvl929 at yahoo.com. That is on PayPal there. Throw us a bone or two. That'd be fabulous. We can keep this ship a rolling.
So yeah, if you'd like to hear more Depravity, you'd like to hear Balls more rant, you'd like to hear me say, a bunch of cuss words, because it is America after all. Yeah, anything would be appreciated. Send us your fucking your laundry list, I guess, if you want. I mean, that's even cool. I'll read it on the air. Or if you want to send a letter or an email, if you want to take it back to the 18th century, email us at windychops1976 at gmail.com. We'll be back in a moment. Peace and love, cats. And the light in the mood, cats, since that whole thing was rant and raving. I don't know if you guys ever get a chance. You should, follow me on Periscope. I'm under, I believe it's Mike C. Rogers, but you'll see. I'm the fat, bald, ugly guy with the glasses. And but I told a story on there. I figured I'd retell it on the show here in case you guys missed it. But it was actually pretty popular, and people seemed to dig it. So, I was actually, XTina and I was on the way to a show. We were actually a couple weeks ago. We were on the way to Punk In Drublic Festival. We were going to see Bad Religion, No Effects, The Interrupters, Mad Caddies, and many more. But we had left, and we're on the way to the show, and I should have took a shit before I left. And I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll be okay. So, we start driving to Pittsburgh, and my guts are rumbling, and I'm like, oh man, this is an all-day festival. I don't know if I can hold my shit in, all day long and all night long. So I'm like, oh man, we gotta stop somewhere. So, luckily enough, we found a Marshall's in transit on the way to, on the way to the show. So I'm like, pull in here real fast. I'm gonna, grow a few tails, and I'll be good for the rest of the day. So I want to go and have a good time, and not have a rumbly tummy. So I figured I'd go and expel my guts into the Marshall's toilet, and all was right with the world. So I end up going to the Marshall's. The OCD germaphobe wacko that I am, I build my bird's nest like Big Bird on the toilet. I sit down to take a shit, and there's 3 other stalls. So I sit down. This person comes in right next to me. It sits right fucking next to me. I just started. I just had I didn't even get to let it out yet. I was just gonna let it rip until I heard the door open, and I just was two little poo nuggets. There was bloop bloop, fucking rabbit pellets came out, and that's all. So now I'm all fucking stage frighted out because, this person came in to take a shit. They sit down in the stall right next to me, and they let it blow, man. I've never heard an asshole, explode like this in my life. It sounded like fireworks and a chainsaw and a wood chipper and maybe, maybe bang snaps, all put together at once. It was like a Tommy gun and an automatic rifle, and then it was and just when I thought it was all done and over, it wasn't. It went on. It was it was like a fucking recoil of a shotgun. This went on for 5 minutes, and it reeked. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this fucking smells like the Holocaust. And this person shitting their guts out next to me. And I looked out, and then I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, oh shit, I might as well not be embarrassed now. So I'm like, well, there's no shame here. So I take a shit. I hurry up. I wipe my ass. I get up. I unhook the door. I go over and go to wash my hands. And out of the corner of my eye, I see the person coming out of the stall, and it's a fucking chick. This broad comes out. She wasn't ugly, but she surely, she was, she looked like one of the housewives of Beverly Hills. And she comes out. She's like, "Oh my god." And she's like, "Am I in the men's room?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then she's like, funniest question anybody's ever asked. She's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, I look around, and I'm like, I see fucking urinals and, bathroom and a sink, and, it looks like a men's room. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And she's like, "Oh my God, you didn't hear me, did you?" And I'm like, No, I didn't hear you. So I mean, oh my God. So I'm like, I at that point, I'm trying to keep my laughter in, and like this lady is truly embarrassed. And she kept going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I came in here." And I'm like, so here's the funniest part about it. Unbeknownst to me, XTina's sitting out on a bench right as you come out, waiting for me. So I come out. And then, like, seconds behind me is this lady from the bath. We're both coming out of the men's bathroom, mind you. And I'm thinking, how weird does this look? And so I come out, I got XT, I'm like, this is not what it looks like, you know, like, I'm like, this is just complete crazy. And she's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, let me tell you. So, like, in that lady's town, she's, like, going to find her purse. She's like, oh, my God, I went in the men's room. I'm so embarrassed. I wish I should have tape recorded it. Like, you can't even, it was unfathomable. This lady's asshole. Like, I never heard, I didn't think chick shit like this. I think she might have been parked truck driver, but anyway. That was my, my tale of shitting on the way to the concert. I told her on the way up, and, I got a kick out of it, and I initially made that Periscope, but, yeah, that was, truly an experience, and I thought I would share it with you cats. Other than that, the show was amazing. It was a really, really good concert. I don't know, if I got some time here, maybe I'll play, I recorded a lot of cool stuff from the show. Maybe I will play you, a song throughout the show here, if I got some time. But I wanted to share that with you, and, yeah, hopefully you like that. Peace and love. Hey, we're back, cats, and one thing I would like to do real quickly before we get to XTina and her Depravity Corner, because I tell you what, I have heard many depravities, and you have too, but today is in fact going to take the cake, because I've heard it, and normally I don't hear it, and I kind of react to it, but I tell you what, this one was so see, I'm making up words, it's so fucked up, I was going to say horrifying, that it's going to fucking curl your tits. I mean, it's that bad. But before we get to that, I actually had the opportunity to check out the new Death Wish with Bruce Willis. I actually thought, I heard a lot of people say it was kind of shitty, so I kind of refrained from going to see it at the theater. I liked Eli Roth. I don't think he's really made a good flick in a while, even though I love that dude. So I was a little apprehensive of checking it out. Didn't think it was a bad remake at all, man, and I hate remakes, so, I don't know what people were complaining about and bitching. I thought it was pretty decent, and, over the years, I used to love Bruce Willis growing up. I don't even so much care for him too much anymore. But I have to say, it was surprisingly okay. So, I don't really feel like I need to give it much more time.
And I didn't watch it, but I got a couple glimpses of it, and Dean Norris is in it from Breaking Bad, so that made me smile. You can't go wrong with Dean Norris.
Yeah, he's actually really good at it, to be honest with you. He's probably one of the higher points. And, I heard people bitch that there's not that much of a body count. Well, if you go back to the original Death Wish, there wasn't much of a body count either. That wasn't the point of the film. The point of the film was, people kill his wife, they almost kill his daughter, and, it's a revenge flick, man. Like, what the fuck do you want? There's a couple grisly kills, there's some cool scenes, it's pretty good. But don't take my word for it, cats. Check it out on your own, and if you think I'm full of shit, send me a letter at windychops1976@gmail.com. But moving right along, we're sometimes, looking for something new to check out. So XTina's buddy actually turned us on to a Netflix original show, I think it is. And, I never heard of it. It's called The Rain. And I tell you what, I was a little egg going in. And I'm like, we ended up watching the first episode. And I tell you what, man, I am completely hooked, hook, line, and sinker. It's a very cool concept for a show. It's about there's rain, and like it more or less gives you like this upper respiratory shit and kills you instantly. So like it's like I don't want to tell you too much, but I don't even think I'm really doing it justice. But it's one part mystery, one part kind of like sci-fi, one part it's like a big mix of everything good. And it is in fact subtitled, so if you're one of those snooty assholes that don't like subtitled movies, still watch it. I'm telling you, take it from Balls. If you don't watch subtitle films, you're missing 80% of the greatest shit out there, people. And I have to say, you watch enough of them, it's like it becomes fluid. Take it. I know that sounds crazy, but it is in fact true, and you're gonna miss a lot of good stuff. But like the rain. But XTina, I don't think I'm really doing this justice. So why don't you tell me a little more about it?
Well, yeah, a friend of mine at work said, you got to watch this show, The Rain. And then she told me, it's in a different language or something. But I didn't realize that I think it's Dutch. They're like in Denmark or something. But she goes, I don't think she fully expressed to me that it was subtitled. I thought she meant like that they like overdubbed it or something. So I was like, all right, sure, whatever. So we started, and Balls is always trying to get me to watch these movies, and I'm like, nope, subtitled, not reading it. And he's like, oh God, you got to get over that. So we're starting to watch, like the beginning of the show, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a chance. And I can't stop watching it. I'm just as addicted to it as I am any other show. And like, I always thought you would lose something by like, okay, I can't really watch the characters' faces because I'm reading what I'm reading, but it sort of doesn't go like that. I mean, you sort of do it all sort of organically, and you don't even realize you're doing it. And so like they make jokes, and I'm sort of chuckling, and it's kind of interesting. But yeah, man, is this a phenomenal show. It's called The Rain, and it's basically, this rain is like radioactive, or I don't know what the hell, but it pretty much kills you instantly. And so there's a family, a mom, dad, brother, sister, and they got to get everybody down in this bunker. And supposedly the dad is going to, fix it all, make it better, so he ditches them all. And long story short, I mean, it's basically like a story of survival. And you got to watch kind of how that plays out. And it almost has like a sort of a Walking Dead without the zombies sort of feel, because it has like a very apocalyptic feel to it, like the end of the world. And so there's a lot of suspense, and I mean, you don't know who you're going to run into, and if they're going to kill you or be nice to you, and it's pretty good. It's very intriguing, and I'm pretty much hooked. So we're only on episode 4, I believe. So we'll give you a full review when we're done with that. Balls, you got anything else?
No, that's really it. I mean, it's cool. Like, you see, they're all scavenging for food. I mean, they're they were with their dad, and then he ends up putting them in this bunker, and then like 6 years later they get out, and then wackiness ensues. But I mean, that's all I really want to say so far. But I mean, like XTina said, we'll give you a full review when we're done. But excellent show, check it out. Other than that, stay tuned, and we're gonna have Depravity Corner here very shortly. And now it's that time that you've all been waiting for. You know her, you love her, XTina. And it's time for the Depravity Corner. Give it up for XTina. Yay!
Hey, here we go. He's so excited to hear about depravity. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. He's really not. I try to tell him this stuff every day, and he's like, you're killing me. You're killing me. Save it for the show. You're killing me. I can't hear this. So, here we go, kids. Strap in. This is a good one. So this is a bit of an old story, but again, I've been listening to this crime podcast, which I had to take a break from because it's been affecting my mood. I've been like super like lethargic and like just sad and hopeless, and granted, I feel those ways at times in reality, and some of my real life brings that to me, but this has been different, and there's been no real reason for it in my life other than listening to this podcast. And so he's like, I think you need to take a break. I was like, you know what, I'll take a few days off and see how it goes. And yeah, like I've been different, huh? Haven't you noticed? Yeah, it's very bizarre. But before I took a break, I got the best one that I've heard in quite some time. And I hate to say the best one, because it's actually terribly horrible, sad. I feel so. I mean, I the reason I think I do spotlight these things is because I do want to, I guess, bring awareness to things and, bring awareness to people to just, like, watch who you trust and, protect your family. And you just never know who you're dealing with out there. And it's just a scary place. But so this is the story of Josh and Susan Powell, a lovely young Mormon couple that met at, a Mormon dance, as most Mormons do. And I want to say they met in their either late teens or early 20s. And, they dated for a while. I ended up getting married and ultimately started a family, had a couple kids. And at the time of this incident, we'll say for the moment, the kids were, I believe, 4 and 2. And it was a winter evening in Utah. And as you can imagine, it was bitterly cold. And Josh decides that he's going to take the boys out camping. It is, again, winter time in Utah. It's a Sunday night. Now, the kids aren't in school, but they go to a daycare. And from what I understand, both Susan and Josh, they work. So it's a Sunday night, and they work a normal, like a 9 to 5 type deal. So they had a babysitter that they would always drop the kids off to, and, they would get up and go to work in the morning. So for some strange reason, Josh decides that it's a great night to go camping and takes the boys to, nobody really knows. I don't think anybody truly knows, because I think where he said he took them, he lied. But he took them to some, he liked to look for rocks and like go into caves and things of this nature. And so they went and did this, and next thing you know, nobody shows up the next day on Monday morning. Everybody's looking. Where's these kids? Where's Josh? Where's Susan? Nobody can get a hold of them. Everybody's calling their cell phones, and the daycare lady can't find them, and they didn't show up for work, and what's going on? Why would they not show up for work? And so it took hours, but ultimately he answered his phone. At some point, I think his sister called, and they're like, "Where are you? We're worried sick about you and the kids and, Susan." And he's like, "Well, the boys and I went camping last night, but I don't know. Susan's home as far as I know." And they're like, "No, she's not home. Can't find her anywhere." And so they start a missing persons campaign to find Susan Powell. No one can find her. I mean, they're looking for days. So, of course, they have to start questioning him. And he says that he left the house, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. 9 or 10 o'clock at night to take your 4 and your 2-year-old out to go camping in the winter. Yeah, sure. This makes so much sense, buddy. And so he says he doesn't know. He hasn't seen his wife since that night. When they left, she was sleeping in her bed. There was no sign of forced entry into the home. No sign of anything weird. The boys get interviewed. Now, 2-year-old, that's a little iffy. 4-year-old, that's a good one. They're going to tell you stuff. They're going to tell you all kinds of stuff. And it's going to be truth, because they don't know how to lie yet. And it's a beautiful thing. So, when the 4-year-old is questioned and asked, "Did Mommy go camping with you?" "Yes, Mommy was camping with us." "Oh, really? Well, where did Mommy go?" "Well, I don't know, but we went to this cave, and Mommy and Daddy went in the cave, and then Mommy never came out." Oh, my goodness. Your son just told on you. Said cave is searched. No sign of a body. No sign of Susan. Then also, another development that was interesting was that I believe it was the 2-year-old, maybe like a year later or so, drew a picture at daycare of the van, and Mommy was in the trunk. And he was questioned about this several times, and they said, "Yeah, Mommy in the trunk." So there was definitely something very shady about this. No sign of her, nowhere to be found. I mean, searched and searched. Can't find her anywhere. All of a sudden, Josh is questioned, but of course, they can't hold him on anything. They got nothing to hold him on, other than suspicion. And they have no proof of anything. They have no body. They have no nothing. And so he up and leaves Utah for Washington, the state of Washington, which, is a decent distance away. So he goes to live with his dad in the state of Washington because now he's missed so much work. He's got fired from his job and has nowhere to be, and he can't afford the house now, and, he's losing his mind, and everybody's constantly bugging him, and this and that. Well, needless to say, I guess, I don't know, for a while there, the kids were with him, but then I guess the kids got taken, or his, when they did officially arrest him, but then they had to let him go, I guess Susan's father took the kids, and rightfully so. I mean, he filed an injunction or whatever they call it to take the kids, and so he and his wife got custody of them. So they were, helping pretty much raising these kids. And I guess Josh had visiting rights for so long, but they had to be supervised visits. So years go by. I mean, I think like 2 or 3 years passed, because now the kids are like 7 and 5, and still no sign of any. I think they did finally find a body that was. I don't think it was ever confirmed that it was hers, but it's assumed to be hers, and it's presumed that he killed her. But again, there was never any hard evidence, never any proof. They had to do one of those things where, like, they legally declared her dead after so long. And then, so there's these poor boys, they're getting raised by their grandparents because their mom's presumed dead, and it's presumed daddy killed them, so they're really not supposed to be around him. So now he and daddy decide to start this smear campaign while they're trying to find his dead wife. They're trying to say that she ran away with some other guy who happened to be missing from Utah, who I'm sure this lady never met. They're trying to say, they had a love affair and they ran away together. And then they were going to release her teenage diaries and all this stuff, like sexual stuff or fantasies she had, I guess. And now the father-in-law was saying that he had sexual fantasies about his daughter-in-law, and that she supposedly would brush up against him any chance she had. And I mean, who knows if that's true, but the guy actually, it's hard to believe, because he actually had a history of like porn addiction and like deviant sexual assault on, like, not assault, but what do you call, like, a voyeur? He was taking pictures. And it found out, like, he was taking pictures of his daughter-in-law. He was taking pictures of the neighbors. Just hiding in the bushes, I guess. So now this guy gets arrested because they found all this stuff on the computer because they're trying to search the son to, find proof that he killed his wife. So now the dad gets arrested. And then the ex-wife comes out and says, yeah, that's why I divorced the bastard. He's a sick perv, And, I mean, there's a difference between, normal pervs like, Balls and myself. But but this was, a totally different level here we're talking. So, we're lovable pervs, right? So, anyway, this, I'm trying to make this as short as possible, but it's a crazy story. And needless to say, I mean, these kids were not to be alone with their father by any means, and they had a supervised visits with the state and like a court-appointed social worker, I guess. And she would pick up the kids, and because then they weren't even allowed to be near the other family either, because they were all at odds with each other and whatnot. So the social worker lady would pick these kids up in Utah and drive them up to Washington so that they could visit with their dad. And I guess this went on for maybe, I want to say, 2 years. And this one particular day, she shows up with the kids, and the kids get in the house, and he slams the door in her face. Now, she's supposed to be in there monitoring the situation. She calls 911 and is panicking because she can't be in there with them, and she smells gas fumes. So she's panicked. She's calling the police. They're not even taking her one iota of serious. I mean, it's ridiculous. The most frustrating thing hearing these 911 calls on this guy's podcast where, he gets these tapes is that these, and this was actually the police that she talked to. Like, the 911 operators, I can understand, but this was an actual cop. And not only was he, like, just not caring, he was, like, smart and ignorant to her. And he was like, well, ma'am, I have real issues with life-saving things I need to take care of. And she's like, sir, this could be a life-saving event. Do you not understand? This is a high-profile case, and this guy potentially killed his wife, and he now has his kids in there. And, something bad could be happening to them. I need you to get here as soon as possible to save them. And he's like, well, we'll call you back. And literally, as soon as he hung up the phone on her, the house explodes. And this bastard killed himself and his 7-year-old and 5-year-old son, all to spite her family and whatever, just to get out of going to jail, I guess. That takes a real sick fuck to do that kind of thing. But, so needless to say, the woman calls 911 back again and tells them that, he blew up the house. I tried to tell you. I hope that cop sleeps real good at night. And that poor woman, God bless her, whoever she is, I can't remember her name, but that's a tough situation to be in. She's sitting in her car watching this house explode with these 2 little boys that she dropped off and put in there, and they're in danger. And she didn't do it on purpose, obviously. But he wouldn't let her in, and she tried busting a door down, and that's another reason why probably everybody should carry. I'm not a big gun person, but, when you hear stories like this, it does open the debate for that. It does make me wonder sometimes, like, should we, shouldn't we? That is a big debate, and I have my own internal debate about it, so who knows. But at any rate, so that was the craziness. And then, to boot, I guess another, I want to say, year or so goes by, and this Josh guy, his brother, he's still getting questioned because apparently they found his old car that he had given his brother in some, I don't know, like junkyard or something. And apparently, maybe it had something to do with the woman's disappearance / death, and they were questioning him, and he just couldn't handle it, and he committed suicide and jumped off the bridge. So, Jesus, bam, 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 all these people are dead, and why? Because of one psychopath? I just don't get it. Like, it makes no sense to me. We'll never understand the mind of a psychopath, and sadly, this woman was, from what I understand, and was trying to get away from him. She found out, once she was married and had kids to him, that he was, in fact, extremely controlling and mentally abusive, and, it's a sad situation, because it's like, you don't want to leave because you don't want anything bad to happen to your kids. And then it's like they still do it anyway. And then if you leave, a lot of these stories end up stalking you forever and trying to kill you. And it's like you can't win. And nobody takes PFAs seriously, and nobody takes, threats seriously anymore. It's a damn shame. But, it's a shame, and God bless the Powell kids and Susan, and it's just it's a sad situation. But I thought I should, share that one and bring it to light, and just, my God, watch who the heck you date, marry, any minuscule red flags, just run. It's not worth it. Just be on your own. Be alone. Just be strong. You can do it. What do you think, Balls?
I think, this is definitely one that takes the cake for me, but like the thing, and I noticed there's always the same thing in all these same stories you tell every week. Why on earth, I don't understand, like, why on earth, if people are unhappy with somebody, we live in a world where they just don't tell them. Like, isn't it easier to, like, just tell somebody you don't want to be with them anymore and let them live, rather than to kill the kids, kill the person, go through all that trouble? I just don't understand. That's the correlation between all these. Why play God? Why kill the kids? Like,
control. He wants control. If he leaves her, he can't control her anymore.
Oh, I see. It is a control thing. That's the that's man. That's fucked up.
We don't think like that.
Well, yeah.
We're normal people.
Well, come on now. Okay. Well, that explains it. But that's yeah, it's a very sad thing, and this one's definitely affected me the most. I know you raised the bar pretty high. I don't know. Next week you're really gonna have to come up with something good, because I don't know. This one really haunted me for weeks. As XTina said before, I don't know. I like to. I can't hear a lot of this shit, man, because A, it infuriates me, and B, it gets me upset and pisses me off. And I mean, I've been through the system. I know what a ridiculous joke it is now. So it's like I see how all these fuck nuts and shit stains it's a revolving door, man. They get off, they get away. Like or you have enough money, you throw at a situation, you can buy your way out of shit. I mean, it's just a horrible thing, but I mean, it's very disheartening. When I was growing up, I used to have a very, I always felt like our system worked, and once you go through it, it's very fallible.
Yeah, I mean, but honey, I really wish you'd quit telling people how you've been through the system, because he's really not a hardened criminal, I promise you. But it's pretty funny. I mean, I've been through the system too, but I guess I try not to talk about that. But it is true, because it does give you definitely a different perspective of how things work, or rather don't work, because they really don't.
Well, I mean, I'm not ashamed to like saying that. Like, I mean, I've told this story on the show before, and like, here's the thing. Like, I'm not a hardened criminal, but like, it's funny because like, whenever you do something as minor as we did, you're on paper. People look at you that way. Like, you're still have that stigma attached to you that you are, whether you are or not. So, I mean, that's why I say that, because, like, I mean, people look at you once they know about it, man, you're a fucking hardened criminal, whether you are or not. So, I mean, the shit I did, I felt was very minor. Not to go into detail again. I mean, I already told that story. I don't want to bore you all over again, but, and the shit that me and XTina did is very, very minor in comparison to, like, but here was the thing, like, when I went to court for that, I was, in fact, right next to, handcuffed, chained to me, was a fucking dude that was there for murder and rape, and I'm standing there right next to this motherfucker, like, I'm in the same, like, I'm one of the same, and so that's, I mean, that right there shows you how fucked up it is. Like, the only reason I'm not bragging at all, that was probably one of the dumbest decisions of my life, but the reason I do bring it up, and the reason I say that is just to show you how, how ridiculous and how unworkable and how fallible our system is. Like, I mean, and this was coming from a dude that growing up really thought it all worked and really had a lot of faith in it, and then, it just was very disappointing to go through that kind of thing and to know firsthand that now it does not. Here's a quick clip of the Interrupters doing You Won't Find a Friend Like Me that I recorded from the Punk In Drublic Festival. Enjoy, cats. Peace and love. See you next week. This is Balls from Ellwood, and this is XTina. We will be back next week with tons more to talk about. Other than that, I think I'm going to leave you with a track from when we went to the Punk In Drublic Fest. I'm going to play for you a little track, end on a little song, and other than that, see you next week, kids. It was great to be back. Peace and love.
What Season 2.
Balls, balls, balls. All the fellows out in Ellwood singing balls, balls, balls. John Side takes a course each week to talk to balls, balls, balls. It's a Sunday night, it's a smoking show. Balls, balls, balls. Everybody's favorite caller, Howard Stern shows. Balls, balls, balls. He's all a good time. Come give him a call. Call balls, balls, balls. The best caller on Howard shows. Balls, balls, balls. He's got his own podcast and he's taking your calls. Balls,
Balls, balls, balls.
Yeah!
Thank you, Sour.
How was that?